Hi everyone, and welcome to Jack and Cat Adventures. Today we're going to be making stuffed cabbage rolls, and it's an authentic recipe, so it's delicious, it's easy. It just needs a little bit of prep ahead of time, okay? So in a pan, you're going to cut up one full onion. You're going to put half in a pan and the other half in a bowl. That's going to sit for later for our meat mixture. Into this pan, you're going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 can, 14-ounce can, I think this is 15, and this calls for Italian recipe tomato bits, okay? I couldn't find them. I ended up getting 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I'm going to use the boat motor and kind of break these up inside the pan. And I'm going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning because this doesn't have any of the Italian in it, okay? So let's do that. And then we're going to do the Italian seasoning. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Maybe just like a palm full. Because you need that flavor. Then you're going to add 2 15-ounce cans of tomato sauce. Now, as you can see, I'm using all organic everything because I'm still on the detox diet. I'm not supposed to have the rice that's in this, but I'm going to have to eat it because you can't do without the rice. Now, if you're not worried about, the rice and things like that with the detox, you're fine. Just use organic everything. The only thing I couldn't find organic was the fire roasted tomatoes. And I found all of this organic tomato sauce and tomato paste at Costco, and it was way cheaper than the grocery store. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add 2, they call for 2 large cans of water. Now these are 2 small cans, which equals a large, so I'm going to do 2 of these. Alright, and then you're going to do 1 12-ounce can of tomato paste. Now I got these, they only came in 6-ounce, so you're going to use 2 of the tomato paste, which are organic. And I would suggest while you're doing this, double it because the sauce is out of this world. And I do mine a little bit different than other people do, I think. I cut a bunch of cabbage and I just put it in the bottom of my pan, and then I put sauce on it, kind of mix it together, and I use that as a bed for my cabbage rolls. So you'll get kind of an extra cabbage in it, so it's really good. And if you don't use it all, it freezes great. The whole meal freezes, and so that the sauce by itself will freeze really good for you, and you can use it on all kinds of different things. While you're watching, please subscribe down below to help us grow our YouTube channel. It's free, and each week if you subscribe, you will be getting 3 or more recipes and alerted when the new recipes come out. Alright, now you're going to add your onion, the half of the onion that you cut, the whole onion. Half goes in here, half goes in your meat, remember. And dice it pretty small because you don't want to be biting into big pieces of onion. Okay, and then 2 bay leaves. And that's it. Stir it together, and you're going to simmer, just simmer, don't boil, for an hour. Now that our sauce is just simmering and it smells delicious, you guys, I'm going to start on the cabbage. I have a big pot of water going on high. You want it to bring it to a boil, okay? Then you're going to get a big thing of cabbage, and we're going to take out as much of the core as we can. Now be careful because you can cut yourself very easily with this. I'm not worried about too much of not getting it all out because in the end, after I blanch it. You're going to blanch it. Once I start taking the leaves apart, I'll just cut out the rest of the core. But you need to open it up a little bit because you need the water to get in there. Alright, so I'm going to do it like this. Hold on one second. There we go. Now you need a really big sharp knife, and there you go. Now my core is still in there. I'm not concerned. Don't worry about it. What we're going to do now is we're going to take it back to our pan. We are gently, and I mean gently, we're going to put this into our boiling water. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep pushing it down into the water. Now, once the leaves start to soften, they'll start falling off really easy. And just, you're not cooking it. You're just making them pliable so we can roll the meat in them, okay? See how it just starts coming off really easy? I just kind of leave mine off until I get enough to take out, and then I'm just going to put them in a bowl to drain because you don't want all that water. See? It's really easy, you guys. It's just be careful because not only can you cut yourself, but you can really burn yourself. And you want to try and take it off in big pieces so that you have enough to roll, okay? So I'm just letting this sit in here just a few seconds just to kind of soften it up. Alright, my sauce is cold enough for me to handle it. So in your bowl with your half of an onion, you're going to add 1 pound of ground meat, a half a cup of the sauce, you can always add more sauce if you like more sauce, but there's going to be a lot of sauce on the outside of the cabbage rolls too, so just keep that in mind. Okay, then a 1/3 cup of rice. I'm using medium grain. Either medium or long grain is good for this. Salt and pepper to taste. And then an 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then we're just going to mix this all together.
You forgot your egg. It's in the bowl.
Add an egg. And it's just easier to mix with your hands because you want all this flavor to get into this meat. Now I have a lot more meat here because I am doubling my recipe, but the recipe I'm giving you is for a single recipe. And it will be moist, so don't worry about it. You don't want it dry because it's gonna bake in the oven for 2 hours. So you definitely want to have some moisture in this meat. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside for right now. Wash my hands. Alright, I have a roasting pan here that goes into an electric roaster. I'm going to use that to bake my cabbage rolls, but you can use a pan or like a roaster that you put roast beef in, whatever you want to use. So what I do is I put some sauce in the bottom of, now remember to take out your bay leaves, and I put some sauce in the bottom of the pan. You're going to cook this on 350 degrees for 2 hours, covered. You don't need a lot in the bottom. I'm just kind of putting a little bit there. And then what I did was, I always buy 1 extra head of cabbage. I just bought a small one today. Cut it in half using a serrated knife. Cut it in half. And then we're going to cut the core out. There we go. It popped right out. Okay. Now, what I do is I just thinly slice the cabbage. If you have a hard vein going through it, cut the vein out, okay? Now on this part, I don't cook the cabbage like I do to wrap the cabbage rolls in, because you're not wrapping anything with these. So, all right. And then what I do is I just take it and just cut strips.
That actually ends up being the best part of the whole meal, is the cabbage that is in the bottom.
And just throw it in the bottom of your pan. And the reason I like to get the sauce done ahead of time is because then you can handle it easily. It's not hot. Okay. All right, let's just cut this up. Okay, put that all in the bottom, and then you're going to put some more sauce on top of that. And it's all up to you how much sauce you want to use. I just like this to kind of steam in the sauce. And this is why I double my sauce, so I have enough to put on to the bottom. Usually if I'm making this for a big party or something like that, I will definitely use 2 of the heads of cabbage for the bottom, because everybody loves that. Now, we're going to get our cabbage that we parboiled, softened, and what we're going to do is, see this thick rib? We're going to cut that out. And just go along each side of the leaf, like that. And then, these are really big, so you can actually break them in half and have 2 rolls out of 1. So here's another one. Just kind of go along the rib. There you go.
If you left that whole, that would be half of the meat would go into 1.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to start with our meat. Now, I'm going to set this up. Hold on 1 second. Get my stuff together here. Alright, sometimes when I'm really pressed for time and I don't want to sit and roll the balls and put them into the cabbage to make the rolls, what I do is I put the cabbage down like I did, and lots of sauce. I make the meatballs, that's what I'll call them, and I put them down on top of that, and when it's all full, I'll put a little more sauce on, and then I'll shred another cabbage, put it on top, more sauce. Okay, so you wouldn't even need to cook the cabbage at that point, everything would just go in. So,
unstuffed cabbage.
Unstuffed cabbage. So here's our 1 leaf. Try and make it so you can see. And I'm just taking my ice cream baller, and I'm just making round balls. And then what you're going to do is, you're going to want to roll this and tuck the sides so everything stays in, okay? And there you have it, just like that. And then you're just going to lay them on top of this sauce that's on top of your sliced cabbage. And like I said, if you run out of cabbage and you have a lot of meat left, just do balls and put them in. It'll be great. You just want to make sure that it's tucked pretty tight and put the open flap on the bottom. And you can put them in here really tight. Now that I had all my rolls done, I put sauce on top, and I do have some of the blanched cabbage left over, so I'm just going to slice it like I did for the bottom. I'm going to put that, I'm going to actually put it back in this bowl and mix some sauce in with it, and then put it back over the top of that. Alright, so I'm just finishing up putting sauce on the cabbage that I'm going to put on top. Make sure you have enough sauce, because that makes the meal, okay? So now I'm just going to put it on top of my cabbage rolls, like so. And believe me, once you have the cabbage cut up like this on top and bottom, you won't do it any different. It's so good. Then we're going to cover this tightly, and we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for 2 hours. Alright, so here's our finished cabbage rolls. They are delicious. So please try this recipe. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you do you.